So first weather of the year. This is last week it was single digits. We talked about being out in single digit sleep. This week, we got to shovel a little snow. Today I actually got to move some snow out of the driveway.
Yeah.
And put some bird food down, give them the mealworms.
Honey was having so fun watching the little juncos.
It's so funny.
And she wanted them to come to her so bad. And then she starts screaming.
Yeah, they don't like the screaming.
No.
But it's so funny. And the weather's one of those things that absolutely anybody will talk. Strangers will talk to you about the weather.
I know.
People in Kroger will come up to you and say, hey, it's cold enough for you or whatever.
Exactly. Well, and one of the things, I know that they were out of school this week, but it wasn't due to the snow. It was due to the fact that it was single digits.
I don't even know.
And
somebody posted on social media a picture from 1978. There was a blizzard in 1978, apparently. I was there. You were there. But the snow was plowed, 2 stories tall. And you see this line of kids walking to school.
Yeah.
In 1978. And then the next picture below it was 2024, and there was like an inch of snow, and the sign said, just go back to bed. We're canceling school. It's too cold or it's too snowy or whatever.
It's true. We homeschooled the girls.
We had gotten so soft. Yeah, that's true. When it snowed, when our kids were young, they got snowed in instead of snowed out.
So all their friends were playing outside in the snow. And it's like, no, you guys have to do school.
No, that's not true. You were so lenient. They got to do whatever. You would make coffee cake
oh my gosh. Yeah, I did make coffee
somehow
cake.
Told them it was health food.
Well, no, what did I call it?
I don't know.
It was really a cake recipe.
Yeah, it was
But
cake.
I called it...
breakfast cake or breakfast...
scones.
Oh.
I called it scones. I think Grace does this now, doesn't she, Graham? Yeah.
Cinnamon crumble on top. Yeah.
So good. No. And it's
and
cozy.
Muffins are basically the same thing.
They are.
They're just a little rounder, like basically a cupcake
and
with
usually
no icing.
No icing. Yeah. That's the difference.
All right, okay.
Hey!
Good day and welcome to episode 2.
Episode 2.
We're halfway to 8.
No, this has been fun though.
Has it?
I'm so thankful for Graham. Yes, because, and you do have fun with it. I know you tease, but...
Well, all the techie stuff. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
We're on episode 2, and we have, I don't know how many hours in between building a table and acquiring technology and getting it all synced. You and Graham. Graham especially has been killer at getting everything synced in, and soundboards and timers and microphones.
And learning Final Cut Pro, which, oh my gosh.
The whole mix and match thing has been much more of a project. When you see a podcast or listen to a podcast online, you don't know what goes on behind the scenes.
No,
just to
because
make
it's
it
so
happen.
simple. Like when you're just watching 2 people talk, you think, okay, we're just sitting here
How
talking.
hard could that have been?
Yeah. And actually, you probably could. You could use your phone in this day and age and do totally fine.
I mean, we were concerned about how much shadow is on the wall behind us. And we're still looking. We've got a thing that's going to be back here. It'll say Living Well Together, which is the title of the podcast, Big Life in a Small Town.
Right.
So that'll be back here eventually too.
Yeah.
So there's
it'll
still
look super cool.
things in the works.
And we might do like shelves that's the kind of part that I like because I love details.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll have many leather-bound books. It'll look very important. It'll be fabulous. But
What's that from?
Anchorman. Yeah. Yes. Lanolin.
He's so good.
Well, at the end of the day, I think I did not understand.
I know.
What has to happen in order to create something. And the average podcast, here's a weird little nugget. The average podcast lasts 8 episodes or less.
That is crazy.
And so, because it's work. I mean, there's a little bit of effort. You got to do some homework.
But there's something. How many podcasts are there that have been started? I don't remember that number. I can't remember.
Somebody will search that. How many podcasts are there that have started and not finished?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're gonna record 8 episodes before we even turn them loose. So we're gonna get ahead of the odds before the odds get ahead of us.
Right.
And so these first few, they're just us because we're still in figure it out mode.
Yeah.
And then we'll start to incorporate some guests. Some of them will be live here in the studio with us, and some of them will be virtual. They may be in a different part of the country or a different part of the world. So we're just in the figure it out mode. But there's so much more to it than I was expecting.
So much. Actually, it says here 5.5 million podcasts on their platform.
Well, for the longest time, I felt like
That's-
we were the only people who didn't have a podcast.
I know, but then when you hear statistics like they only go 8 episodes and then they just kind of fade away. Like you and Andrew had a podcast back in the day called Paradox, and it was kind of the same thing with that. He did a good job. I think it might have been 8.
I think we had 6 or 7 episodes, and then it was like, this is so much effort.
Yeah, but it was fun at the time.
Yeah.
But it is interesting, and it's more work than what it seems like, even though it's just a conversation.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Which is what you say when you don't know what else to say.
So on today's episode,
here we go.
We are going to talk a little bit about the history of our tiny town, our small town.
Okay.
And you're going to hit some of the high notes. I have my favorite fun facts, so don't steal that from me. We're also going to talk a little bit about the 6th anniversary of the Living Will Code, our first book.
And that's the other thing. Do we even introduce ourselves? Do they even know who they're listening to? We did that in episode 1.
Yeah, we did.
And then never mind. Go ahead.
We're good. Yeah, we're good. And then we might have a quirky question, since that's a little bit of our segment.
Okay.
And
Quirky
then
question.
Maybe a wellness tip, but we didn't really talk about that yet. Oh, we're going to talk about the vitalizers.
Yeah, we've got vitalizers that we can plug in if we, just a space time. And,
Exactly.
Right. So when we have guests on, it'll be easy because we'll be able to learn about them. Time will fly. We'll have a hard time containing it.
I know. Yeah, for sure.
20 to 30 minutes. And right now, it feels like we're spinning our wheels trying to fill 20 or 30 minutes.
Except for...
Like, how interesting can we be? Not that interesting.
Okay, but Fairborn is interesting. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so let's talk about our town. Back in 1799 is when settlers started coming to this area. And of course, there were obviously Native Americans that were here ahead of them.
Yeah.
But making friends was a high priority with the Native Americans in 1799. And then right around 1800 is when Fairfield was established. And so, and the important thing was it was kind of on the rail line.
Right,
Heading
exactly.
west from Springfield.
Which that's the same with most towns, right?
Everything had to have a transport, whether it was
coming in and out,
horses and wagons, or whether it was in that case, the railway had been established, and so Fairfield was established. There was another town close by, a village actually that had sprung up with the advent of railroad as well, called Osborne. Right. And so then in the early part of the 1900s, this was a kind of a hub because why? Wilbur and Orville Wright kind of lived in this area as well.
The Wright brothers.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we've had this debate with North Carolina now for I don't know how long, because I think the North Carolina license plate says they were first in flight, which is totally bogus.
It does say that.
Yeah. And I'm not allowed to swear. That's another rule.
No swearing.
So
that's the same when he does public speaking too.
Well,
no swearing, and what's the other thing?
Make sure my zipper's up.
They
I once did a whole
now.
workshop without checking my zipper, and that was not cool.
So
and I got all the way to the end before and I discovered it myself. Like somebody should have told me. So yeah, there's no swearing, and there's make sure you're. Although you can't tell, you can't even tell if we're wearing pants.
I don't know.
But
maybe
no, we are. Yeah. It's cold. We are wearing pants
and boots.
But Fairfield and Osborne were significant because the Wright brothers and flying had been happening, and military things had been occurring in this area for the onset of the First World War. And so Fairfield was a really important flight depot. And then around 1913 is when the big flood happened here in the Dayton area.
Okay.
And so they started.
You weren't here then.
No.
This is just a history book.
This is way back in the 1900s. But they created a floodplain by building the Huffman Dam. And then it was the Huffman Prairie where Wilbur and Orville did all their test flying as they were creating air travel from a bicycle shop down in Dayton.
I totally didn't.
Super smart.
I missed the whole Huffman Dam thing.
Yeah. It was the creation of the Huffman Dam that was going to prevent more flooding.
Okay.
But what would happen is if it did flood, Osborne, the village of Osborne, would now be in a floodplain.
Got it.
So rather than waiting for a flood, the townspeople, again, this is, early 1900s, got together and moved everything. All the buildings, all the businesses, all the homes. They stripped it and put it on wagons and moved it. Yeah, moved it
That
into
is wild.
what is now Fairborn.
No, wait, Grandma, is you guys' house? Oh, so Graham and Grace live in a house that was moved. That is so cool. Yeah. And you can't tell? No. Okay.
It's amazing.
Can we hear you? Are you live? Okay.
That whole street, the whole street that they live on, all of those homes had been transported from Osborne. And then in, I think, 1950, I should check my notes. In 1921, they took matters into their own. So 1921 is when they moved all the homes. Fairfield and Osborne operated independently, but then in 1950 they voted to meld it together and call it Fairborn.
Can I share my fun fact?
Go.
Okay. So Fairborn, our Fairborn is the only town in the whole entire world with the name of Fairborn.
No duplicates.
No duplicates. We're one of a kind.
We sure are.
That's a cool fun fact.
Well, and it was a village back then. And then once the population exceeded 5,000 people, it was incorporated into a city.
Right.
So village is 5,000 or less, city is 5,000 or more.
Yeah.
I don't know what the definition is of town versus city versus.
Is town just more generic? It's like hometown, town.
Yeah.
I don't know if it has specific.
I don't know. Somebody will search it.
Qualifications.
And somebody will put that in the,
the comments, maybe.
In the comments section. Yeah.
Thank you.
Towns are for hillbillies. Cities are for real people.
We actually have a village that's only 5 miles away too. So
Yellow Springs is not far from here. And they fight to keep village status. They do not want to exceed 5,000 people, and they actively work to not let that become bigger than 5,000 people.
Yeah.
I think they just do it they just keep raising the taxes, and then nobody says, I'm not going there. But they've got some great little shops, great little restaurants, and we will have some of them as guests. I
know.
I don't want to
Actually,
make it sound
one of
like
our
it's not a
very
good thing.
favoriteest restaurants is the Winds over there, and so
Yeah.
yeah,
And there's a
we
brewery,
enjoy it.
their beer place over there. There's
and there's usually a food truck there too.
right.
So sometimes one of my favorite food trucks is Bella Sorella. So you're always sweet to go over and grab that, and while you're waiting, grab a little beer. They have beer everywhere now, don't they?
Oh yeah, they sell their beer all over Ohio. I don't know if it leaves Ohio, but they've got distribution all over the place. So yeah, that's
cool.
a great hometown, and we will have somebody from the brewery
Hopefully,
right, as a guest. and we want the because the Winds now has a chef owner as well, or at least partial owner.
We were just there this past week, and it was the best experience. I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, Brandy was our server.
Server, and she was awesome.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
So we'll move through village status. We've talked about village status.
Yeah, and
the
we
village
became
people.
a city, and now we're a population of like 40,000-ish.
33, I think.
33,000? Okay.
Most recent count,
Yeah.
33,000 people. So it's a small town. And I don't know what the definition of small is. For me, I can walk down the street in small town USA and see the people who cut our hair or, we get groceries or whatever else from. And so small town for me is 35,000 or less.
I agree. How big was Chillicothe?
About the same. It's probably about the same right now. It was 25.
So?
It was
I
25,000.
feel like it's bigger than Fairborn.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Your
now.
brother would know.
It's another good search.
Yeah, another good search.
Yeah.
You want me to search it right now?
No. How important is it? Not very.
It would be fun to like you could call your brother.
I could. Actually, we should have him on as a guest.
I agree.
We wouldn't have to say a word.
No,
I just turn him loose.
He
has more fun facts and more.
He does.
Tim does not know a stranger.
Not at all.
He's the guy who would talk to you about the weather in Kroger's or in the grocery store.
Just to engage you and be, just to share his light.
Super pleasant.
Yeah.
And he is also small town material. Yeah, we got to have Uncle Tim come on.
That would be super fun. So did you talk about Orville's first flight?
No, go ahead. Give me the data.
So,
but we're arguing North Carolina. That's the thing.
That's the thing. But there is records. I'm assuming that there's records that show that in 1904, their first flight was 1,760 feet.
Okay.
And it took them 40 and a half seconds to make that flight.
Which I'm sure was exhilarating for the day.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine?
Yeah. I cannot imagine, actually.
think about how rewarding that would be. They'd been working on it for so long.
And they still have replicas of that plane. You can still take a Wright B Flyer plane ride, right? It's like basically like these two chairs mounted on a bicycle with a motor behind it and some fabric
Reminds
that
me
holds it in the sky. It's a little precarious.
Oh, I know. But they were so brave and courageous and determined to make that happen.
I'm sure there are broken bones involved in the process.
Gosh, probably.
Coming down.
Yeah.
And then
But
so
a
they
big
took it all
part
down to
of-
Kitty Hawk. I don't know why they went to Kitty Hawk. We'll do the homework on that. But just be it known throughout the land that they flew here first.
Yeah.
We don't really care what your
According to the
license plate
McCoskeys.
says. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We are the authorities on this topic. And many others.
Yeah, no, not really, but we can pretend.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the internet is a marvelous thing.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny to think about a time when there was no internet?
Caitlin and I were just talking about this. When we planned our first trip to Italy, it was back in 2004. I was celebrating my 40th birthday, and Caitlin was celebrating her 16th birthday, and so we headed over there. And I had to do all the planning from books, Rick Steves' books.
Yes, yes.
And it was the most magical adventure. But now oh my gosh, it expands your anything that you could want to know, any place that you would want to stay, any restaurant that you would want to go to, you can find out all about it
Before you even leave your living room.
Go. Yeah. But it still worked. I mean, I love a roadmap.
Yeah, I keep a roadmap in my car.
Yeah. You just never know.
But it's a weird thing to think about. Sedan. It's a weird thing to think about a time with no internet. And to think that our kids will never know a time basically without the internet.
Or ever know it, like same with us. I think back to our grandparents when flight first started and how amazing that would be. And like that was such an extraordinary time for them. They could go back to their home countries if they wanted to.
Right.
But, it's just so normal for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's the same for the internet.
I feel a little nostalgic. You know how old people get when they start thinking about yesterday?
The good old days.
Yeah.
What do you think about the good old days? I don't really.
I think these are the good old days.
These are the good old days.
Yeah, we're in them right now.
Yeah.
There's lots of fun memories, but we're in them right now. No doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we look down the road, it's fun to think, well, eventually it'll be like space travel. Like we'll wreck this planet so bad that we're going to have to go find another one in the future.
Well, but we're here to help.
Maybe not.
Prevent that from happening.
Depends on who you ask.
Yeah. No, we shouldn't go there.
It's going to be okay.
Another episode.
Oh, yeah. We'll have some of our conspiracy theory friends on
that would
a
be
different
so fun.
time. Yeah.
That would be super fun.
All of them are coming true. That's the downside. They're no longer theories in many ways.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Yeah.
I'm off topic here. What happened?
A little bit off
It happened
topic.
again.
Yeah, that's okay. No, you're good at that.
What do you got?
Just have a lot. Well, you want to talk a little bit about the book, 6th anniversary?
Well, 6 years ago we launched it, but it took us 2 years to get it done.
No. Hang on. It did not
See?
take us 2 years to get it done. So for many, many years, Terry really had a passion for wanting to write a book and share his story and chiropractic and just life in general. You had a lot of stuff to share, like memories even from your childhood are kind of filtered through there too. And so this happens all the time. He travels and then I start doing stuff. And so I had connected with a publisher and she had a lot of great information to share and a way to make a book come true pretty quickly. Thank you, Michelle Culp. And so we connected with her. You came home. We had a phone conversation with her. And then in 6 months, we had a book. And it was published.
6 months?
And it's an international
That's
bestseller.
the longest 6 months of my life.
No, she made it. I mean, it kept us on track, and it's like having an accountability coach for anybody, for anything that you do in your life, whether it's a chiropractic or direct sales or whatever you do. Having a coach makes it better. Athletes, and so it was great. So she really helped us bring it to fruition.
And it became an Amazon bestseller.
International bestseller.
Is it international? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it is an international bestseller on Amazon.
And this is something that you share with your new patients. It gives them
Everybody
a little
coming
bit of
through
a
the practice gets a
background.
copy.
Of why we do what we do.
And speaking engagements, it's gotten me speaking engagements. It's gotten me different connections.
You've gotten you speaking engagements.
No, but I mean,
it's fun to share those. But
it's funny how people think you're some kind of an expert because you've written a book.
True. Are you an expert though?
I kind of am. Yeah. On the subjects that are in this book.
Right.
But yeah, 6 years. It's hard to believe
It's
that
hard
it's
to
6 years.
believe. I know,
So
I
are we
agree.
going to work on a revised edition? Are we going to update some
Well,
things?
you can work on a revised edition of that if you want to.
I don't.
But I actually have an outline and 2 chapters done for the ultimate guide to your living well life.
Oh.
So you know this.
I do
Don't
know
pretend
this.
you don't know. You're such a jokester.
Well, we're going to wrap it up because we're getting close to our
Hold on.
time.
Okay, I know. I just saw it. Graham just turned the
we got
camera
a new
around.
clock. We got a new
so
piece
that
of
we-
equipment this week that lets us know we're in.
Keep us
Go.
focused. Let's see here. Okay, so quirky question of the day. I'm going to ask you first, and then what song would you have playing every time you walked into a room? And if you can hum it,
Okay, we should rehearse
Even better.
things. I should know the answer before the question pops, right? And so for future episodes, we're going to let each other in on some stuff. If I had to play one song, oh my gosh, every time you enter the room.
every time, like that would be your theme song.
Oh, wow.
You're such a music guy. This should be so easy
Well,
for
that's
you.
what makes it hard. I mean, I
yeah,
like a
that's
lot
true.
of different music, a lot of different styles of
I
music.
don't.
But it might be,
Name that tune.
and I would get to the top of the flight of stairs.
You would be so good. That's great. I could start doing this for you, babe. I
No.
know that you said you had your own ideas of what I should do when you come home from work at night, but I think I'll do this instead.
Oh, but there's like 14 other songs that I could think,
That's a
would
good
be
one.
fun to
Okay,
enter the room with.
I
Do I
wasn't-
get to ask you that?
Well, I was going to say, I wasn't going to say, because I am not a music person and I rarely remember songs or actors or movies or any of that. And you can quote lines like Grace and Graham can.
Yeah.
But as long as it was a song by Five for Fighting, it could be my theme song.
I'm clueless. Pick
Five for Fighting?
Yeah, give me a.
Think about the video that I made from the ski trip above the timberline.
Oh, Above the Timberline.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
I love that song. That's a great one.
Oh, and Renegade. Who
And
sang-
Renegade. No, that's a different. And don't ask me who it is because I don't know.
Who is that? Hey, 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 hey.
Yeah.
Living like we're renegades. I should know that.
I know. I think it's.
Oh,
You probably
on the
should.
spot. I can't think of it
know.
on the spot.
Yes, ex-ambassadors. Yes.
No.
Yeah, it is.
No,
It is.
it's not.
Okay. Do you want to make a little bet?
Well, there may be a song called Renegade by a group called Ex Ambassadors, but that's not the version we played. That's not the song from our video. It's not.
Okay. All right. I'll go with you. Well,
And I left
next
my phone
episode,
at home,
I'll
so
yeah.
I can't even get you there.
We'll yeah. Am I going to pick a card?
Here we go.
Oh, yeah, that's it. And it's ex-ambassadors, isn't it? Yes. Thank you, Graham. It's all right, babe. I know. It's all right. There's also a Renegade song by Styx. That might have been who you were thinking of.
I do know that
Yeah.
song. It starts with a big scream.
Well, I didn't know if that was maybe what you
Check
were
this out,
thinking.
the news out. They finally found me. Yeah, no, that's
Okay.
not that one.
Okay. You want me to pick a card?
Okay. Okay, pick a card, any card.
Okay. What do you think people should be paying more attention to but are not? So for me, that's a pretty simple question because I really do think people need to be focused on the toxins in their life and how to identify them and what they can do to safe swap away from them so that they can live better longer. How's that? Did that sound like a
No,
Miss
it's
America
good.
answer?
No, because you didn't say anything about world peas.
World peace.
World peas.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's good. And
But I mean, that is such a foundation for our lives.
yeah, we think about it, and that's just everything from reading ingredients on the foods that you take in
Exactly.
to what your clothing is made of or soaked in,
Yeah.
or
toxic emotions or toxic relationships.
yeah,
and just,
skincare products,
Yep.
personal care products.
Yeah.
We pay a lot of attention to that stuff. I think most people underestimate the concept of what goes on your body goes in your body.
Absolutely.
Like,
Until you
Everything
explain
from
it as
fabric softener
Yeah.
to hair care to whatever.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, that's
Until
a
you
good
start
answer.
explaining it like a nicotine patch and, how, that gets into your bloodstream, or
Right.
progesterone patches.
Right.
for
No,
hormones.
and people understand that.
Yeah.
You can wear a patch to not get pregnant, or you can wear a patch to quit smoking. But you got to understand that if you're putting on lotion
Anything.
that has some kind of fragrance in
Yep.
it, it is also being absorbed into your skin and wrecking your system.
100%. Yeah.
So if everybody
know,
paid more
yeah.
attention to that, the world would be a healthier place.
I completely agree. It's more about what you take out than what you take.
Cool. Good answer.
Yeah.
What do you think we'll talk about next time?
I don't know. I think we'll know next time.
Think we'll
You
have a
ready to
guest?
wrap it up? Yes, I think we'll have a guest.
Might be Uncle Tim.
Maybe. We'll see.
All right. All right.
is
Well,
fun,
thanks.
babe. Thank you.
Well,
I'm glad
this is
we're
only
doing this
number
together.
2 of, and we've got to get to 100.
I know.
That's
Yeah.
kind of the goal. If we
Yeah.
get to 100, this will be
Yeah.
a walk in the park,
Exactly.
and we'll have a big party.
Yeah, for sure. If you are looking to connect, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Living Well Spine Center or Living Well Beauty. You can also connect on our Facebook pages, Terry McCoskey, Lisa Nardella McCoskey. We love to make new friends.
See you next time.
Bye.
All right, Doc, can you give us a clap? Oh, big one. Right in the middle. Nice.
Is that it?
Nice.
And now we're recording.